Hey everybody, this is Dr. Kyle with Ice Clinics bringing you your next tip for Tuesday. If you're anyone like me, like through your last weekend, you spent your time picking out on food, eating all sorts of stuff that you typically wouldn't eat. Pies, chickens, turkeys, potatoes, a lot of stuff that we normally wouldn't eat that typically isn't very good for us if we eat it in mass quantities, again, much like myself. So this kind of brings up a very good concept and idea I want you to understand a little more in depth, which would be chronic inflammation. Now, Thanksgiving brings up a really good way to explain what chronic inflammation is rooted in and how it connects to a lot of the different ailments that give us trouble in the general public. So understanding the cycle of inflammation is rooted in a imbalance of omega-3 fats and omega-6 fats. Now, one thing to understand is this ratio is what's key with us. Most people are very deficient in omega-3 fats in their body, and we get a lot of excessive amounts of omega-6 fats. These would typically be from vegetable oils. Soybean oil is a very common one, and like rapeseed oil or canola oil. You'll see it a lot as well. These are typically that omega-6 fat source, and this is what drives the inflammatory cycle because most people are very deficient in this omega-3. So what this does is it increases the ratio of omega-6 to omega-3. So imagine this is kind of down. Now, omega-3s, there's 4 different types that we need in our diet, 2 of which come from plants, which are ALA and GLA. And then we get 2 from animal sources, which would be DHA and EPA. For the purposes of this conversation, I want you guys just to focus primarily on these guys. We get these most commonly from fish oil or from an animal that would consume marine wildlife. So any type of animals that live near water. So understanding that this is where most of us are deficient, DHA and the EPA, if we would put ourselves in a position where we're eating like Thanksgiving dinners and we're getting lots of these in our diet, and then you throw on the other big inflammatory, which is sugar, which I know I had plenty of, it feeds this inflammatory cycle. And if we do this for a long enough period of time, our body becomes chronically inflamed and we hurt everywhere and our body parts start falling apart. So remember, the more omega-6 fats that we have and you throw sugar on top of that, it's going to set us up for chronic inflammation. When you catch yourself in a position like myself, who's eaten lots of these things over the course of the last weekend, if you take your omega-3s, so fish oil, and try and consume that in a higher concentration, you'll help to balance out this omega-3 fat to omega-6 fat ratio, which will help fight your inflammation. Now, if you consider that just for a weekend, what I'm saying is consume more than you typically would, but through your everyday life and the average American's life that gets excessive amounts of omega-6 fats and sugar versus omega-3s, if you get omega-3 fats in your diet regularly, you will help combat this offset ratio, which again will lead back to you being less chronically inflamed. Now, I know that's kind of a lot. Hopefully that's a simple chart for you to understand. Good to see it on paper. But if you can understand this one concept, I guarantee you that will help with so many different health ailments that we see walk through our doors. So if you have any more questions about this or you need it to be broken down in different ways, don't hesitate to get a hold of us. Again, my name is Dr. Kyle with Ice Clinics. Thanks for watching.